Here we are with another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies. Good morning, Sal.
Good morning, Ryan. How we doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good.
We have all kind of guests in the house
Yeah,
today.
we do.
So we have Heather VonDielingen and Katie Martin. So we'll get into appropriate introductions momentarily and what you guys are here to talk to us about. But we're going to start the episode with our question of the day. So this will be fun. I'm anxious to hear this out of both of you. So your question of the day is, if you had to sing karaoke right now, what song would you pick? Then sing 4 bars of it.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I can't carry a tune in a bucket, but I would sing John Mellencamp, I Was Born in a Small Town.
Nice.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Little
All right.
throwback.
Little throwback, and, I've kind of lived
Right
different
here,
places
Seymour,
across the
Indiana.
country. But, when I moved away, people asked where I was from, and I said, well, Seymour, John Mellencamp's small town. So it's kind of been what I've referenced over the years.
That's like
So
80s.
now it's just Seymour, Indiana.
Now it's
home
Seymour.
of Heather VonDielingen and
Right?
John Mellencamp.
And John Mellencamp.
Sure.
And Premier Act.
Right.
And Premier Act.
Act. Absolutely. Katie.
So I thought I would give a good laugh to my brother. When he was in high school, he played baseball, and, the boys all have walkout songs.
Sure.
All of his friends had rap songs and whatever was popular at that time. And he did Salt and Pepper Push It. And so that's what I'm going to pick.
Okay.
After hearing that all those times, I can sing it.
I don't know that all of our audience, I think some of our older farmers that are listening, they may not know what that is.
They'll Google it. Okay. Sure. They'll have it on their Apple too. Just shortly, I'm guessing.
It's got a great beat.
Oh, my. Okay. Well,
That was
you've
real
dated
good, Katie.
And you've
That was real
dated
good.
yourself a little bit. So
Yeah. Hey, I have not. I am not old.
I know. You two aren't 80s.
Sal, I'm anxious to hear yours.
Well, I do a really good Willie Nelson, and I would do Blue Skies by Willie Nelson.
Really?
Or Georgia.
Really? Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting because
Blue
I was.
Skies.
There you did get it.
Wow, we did get it. Wow, not requested. Wow. I hope we can
it's
cut that.
spot on.
So, right. You danced last one, sang this one. Yeah, you are full of talent.
Multi-talented.
So I went with the Willie Nelson too, but I
Did
went
you really?
with Willie Nelson and Ray Charles, 7 Spanish Angels, and I'd plan on singing both parts. So
Nice.
I could have done Willie Nelson and
Let's hear
Julio
your Willie.
Iglesias.
Let's hear your Willie.
I'm not.
You're not going to do it?
Nope.
All right, turn the mics off. Now you can do it. We're not recording.
Oh yeah, I trust you. All right. Well, that was fun. That was a better one than we've had. So, all right, Heather, your story and what led you to be a 4-H educator. And if you've not seen some of our podcasts here lately, I've just sort of been throwing it to the guests and said, just
4-H.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
Tell us what you do.
Sounds good. I guess my path that led me to 4-H was education always has been a big part of my life, and I always thought since I was in 2nd grade I wanted to be a teacher. And so grew up here, went to Emmanuel, graduated from Seymour High School, and went on to get my elementary education degree, and I taught 2nd grade actually in San Francisco, California for almost 8
Oh my
years.
gosh.
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, for 8 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Grant brought me back. So there you go. So we, I went to college in Michigan and thought I'll just go anywhere. And I didn't realize San Francisco was going to be the anywhere I was going to go. And was teaching out there. Absolutely loved it. I love education. But about year 5, I got the itch to kind of make a bigger impact. I felt like I could use my skills in a different way than being a classroom teacher. So I went back, got my master's degree in educational leadership and administration, thinking maybe I wanted to be a principal one day. So finished up my master's degree, and it's kind of when I reconnected with Grant. He works here at Premier Companies and was looking to move back to the area. About that time, there weren't really any principal openings, and the former 4-H educator said, Heather, I think you need to apply for that 4-H educator job. I think that would fit right in perfectly with your background in education. And so that's what I did. I came home for the fair that year because I think since my 36, 37, I'm 38, I guess. Can you cut that out?
No. Her husband just poked his head in. We could have asked him and see what he
He
I
would've
know,
known.
you could have asked him. Anyways, I think I've missed the Jackson County Fair one time. Even when I lived in California, I always made it a priority to come home for the fair. I was home that year and visited the fair. I didn't even know there wasn't a 4-H educator at the time, and the position was vacant, and was told about a week afterwards, went back to California and That's what I did. I applied and moved back that year in December and started in January of 2016 in the 4-H educator role. I've just always believed in education and giving youth opportunities. What I really like about the 4-H program is youth get to explore their passions. So somebody's not telling them like, you have to learn about swine or you have to learn about sewing. Really, the kids get to choose that and they really get to follow their passions. So I've always had an interest in education. I never thought I'd leave the classroom. I was a Lutheran school teacher. I thought I would do that my entire life or be a principal, but I've really found a home within Purdue Extension, and I really enjoy it, giving youth those opportunities outside of the formal education setting.
Great.
So
Yeah.
Purdue Extension, explain the relationship to agriculture of the Purdue Extension Service.
Yeah, great question. So the Purdue Extension Service is actually part of a larger organization called the Cooperative Extension Service. And so this actually dates all the way back to the 1800s with Abraham Lincoln. And there was an act of Congress that said, we will always, there'll always be funding for agriculture and engineering education throughout the United States. And that's kind of what started the land grant university system. Some federal lands were sold to have funds to be able to start those universities. And so in Purdue, or in Indiana, Purdue is our land grant institution. And so our goal through the Cooperative Extension Service is to bring the research happening at the university level and translate to local residents. Not everybody can go to Purdue or another land grant institution to receive a 4-year degree. So that's our goal, is to bring that education to local residents. So that's how the 4-H program was born too. In the 1900s, early 1900s, farmers at the time were a little hesitant on the new research coming out of the universities. So they thought, well, we'll start some corn clubs and tomato clubs and teach the kids about the new research coming out of the universities. And that's how the 4-H program was born.
Interesting.
In 4-H, for our listeners that may be in San Francisco or somewhere where they don't have a 4-H program, tell us, and to a 5-year-old, how would you explain, not necessarily a 5-year-old like we had our question today, but
Yeah.
to someone that's not familiar with 4-H program, what is it and how has it evolved?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So 4-H is actually the largest youth development organization in the United States. And so there's really, it looks different in every single state as well. I was on a call yesterday actually with somebody from Colorado and her 4-H program, and just talking about the ways, it was similar and different to ours. But it truly is a youth development program where youth have the opportunity to really lean into their passions and something that they're interested in and kind of hone in on those skills. So our program is really driven by the essential elements of positive youth development, and one of those is mastery. So, a kid might start out in 3rd grade learning a skill. By the time he or she has graduated and has gone through, 4-H for potentially all 10 years, they've really mastered those skills that could then turn into a potential career option. So really, I know a lot of people think when you hear 4-H, it's cows and cooking, but really, what I believe the projects in 4-H, the project's actually the kid, not the project that they're taking, because we're trying to develop those life skills. It's really a life skill building program.
That was well
Yeah.
put.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That's what we try to do. We try to, get youth to explore their passions that could potentially turn into a career path or even just maybe a hobby when they grow up.
Okay. Well, Katie, Premier Ag does a little supporting of 4-H.
We do.
Why don't you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So actually, we'll just talk about this year. So
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So Premier has made a decision to invest $100,000 into local 4-H in Southern Indiana in the counties in which we serve, our trade area. And Heather, actually, I've worked with her and the Indiana 4-H Foundation to work with Educator, I guess, to put us in touch with educators. So it kind of bridged that gap of between Premier and the educator in each county. How can we work with your county? How can we work with them best? And how can we impact the most children in 4-H in your county?
Yeah, and that gift has truly been transformational for Southern Indiana. Jackson County's been a recipient of those funds for the past couple of years, and just the improvements we've been able to make and the educational resources we've been able to bring to our kids have impacted now over several thousands of kids. I'm anxious really for the reports that are going to come in this year because people are excited about this. I've had a few people reach out to me even the last couple of weeks and said, is the Premier gift ready yet? Are we ready to apply for those gift funds to be able to make an impact? So educators are really thinking about ways they can, transform their program because of the gift. And I know, Premier Ag, you're looking to raise up that next generation of agribusiness leaders. So we truly appreciate this gift. It's been a pleasure to work with Katie the past couple of years on this.
So how do they get it?
So there is an application process. So that starts in September. We're almost ready to roll that out right now. We're, end of August, very end of August. So we'll roll that out, and the extension educators in each county will have an opportunity to fill out our application. That asks what they're planning to do. What are your dreams? What goals do you have, and programs that you want to implement? I think, just as an example, Heather, maybe talk about what you had done last year.
Sure.
And what all that grant impacted.
Yeah, last year we were actually able to purchase 4-H club kits for all of my club leaders. So I hosted a club leader retreat last year where every single club leader got a really nice kit with the new flags, a new gavel set. The kids think it's awesome to bang the gavel when they're the president. So Premier Companies invested in that. Also got new wheelbarrows for every single barn at the fairground, so that was an exciting change. Our poultry program is really growing now. Poultry and rabbits seem to be the programs that are growing the most. Small animals, you can have those, maybe in town if you don't own on a farm and have a lot of land. And so we were able to buy new poultry cages last year as well. So this year, I already have a committee that's reached out to me and said, I have an idea for the premier gift this year. Can we talk? And so I think that the gift is really kind of been advertised and has been shared, and our volunteers now are thinking about ways that they can maybe tap into some of those resources to give the kids in their club some educational opportunities. So that's been some of the things that we've done in Jackson County to promote that education. I know Monroe County, for example, they have an awesome drone program, and that is through the gift from Premier Companies. Just a couple weeks ago, I saw fields being sprayed by drones. Who would have thought we would see that day?
Sure.
And so just the fact that Premier is making that investment to raise up these future leaders is awesome. I know lots of counties they've been able to take kids on trips and, opportunities they might not have otherwise had we not had this gift.
And this is different than what we've historically done. Katie, I think it was 2 years ago we changed how we did this. We changed how we supported 4-H. And traditionally, we would go to the auctions and we would buy an animal at the auction. And that was fairly traditional support. But this has been a huge shift in how we try to support more kids. And whenever you said you bought all new wheelbarrows for the barns, that's not something that's normally purchased, right? I mean, that's not, when you think about you're supporting 4-H, but there's a whole lot of things, whether it's cages or drones or technology or just those the packs or the starter kits, for the meetings. Those things don't generally have funds to buy them. Mm-hmm. And so when we made this shift, the idea was that we would support more kids in different areas and increase our support for 4-H.
Exactly. Like, I can't wait to kind of sit down and think about the numbers of just the kids that have been impacted. Just in Jackson County alone, it's going to be over hundreds of kids because, the skills they're learning when they're working in the barns with their animals and, just that Premier played a role in that. Those lessons are invaluable.
So, very good.
Okay, very good.
What do you think the future of 4-H will be, Heather?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really open-ended. 4-H has always been kind of on the cutting edge. Lately, we've been getting more into robotics and STEM. We're still staying true to our roots, with agriculture, but there are so many different career paths within agriculture. Technology is huge right now with the drones and custom applications and auto steer and tractors. One of actually my husband's favorite stories to tell is that when he went to 4-H at Roundup at Purdue, he saw research happening on the tractors, that eventually that there was going to be GPS in tractors. That wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
He was in 8th grade.
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, and so that's one of his favorite stories to tell. And now, that's how we run all of our tractors on our farm. We have GPS and auto steer in all of our tractors. We utilize that technology. So I think 4-H is going to continue to be on the cutting edge and continuing to give youth those educational opportunities where they can see what's kind of coming down the pipeline and get their interest in 7th or 8th grade, and they might potentially join a career or follow a career path that has something to do with what they saw maybe when they went to Purdue University as a 4-H member. So if you think back to, the early 1900s, that was pretty innovative when we said, we'll teach the kids, the new research coming out of the university. We've always been on the cutting edge, and I think we're going to continue to be, and we're really expanding, programs. 4-H is really for everybody. As I said earlier, the project is the kid, and so you can develop life skills through any type of project, whether that be the tractor driving project. We actually have a tractor club, or whether that's sewing, STEM. We also have a new program specifically for our Latino youth in Jackson County called Juntos 4-H, and that's expanding across the state as well. And so it's all about giving youth education and access and opportunity. So
great.
I think really the sky's the limit. I don't know what it'll look like in the next 50 years because it has transformed so much over the past 100 years.
So how do you get that? How do you get kids interested? I mean, how do you get the message to them? There might be a child sitting out there saying, "I don't have any idea how to get involved in that. I don't have animals. I don't live on a farm." So how does that message get delivered to them?
Yeah, great question. So actually, Victoria Kane, she's our new program assistant. She's helping to organize a 4-H open house this year. So we're going to have that at Brownstown Elementary School in the fall, and we'll send out flyers to all of the schools once we have everything finalized. And so that's one way that they can get a small taste of what 4-H has to offer. Victoria's already been able to recruit some of our committee members. Our swine committee is going to be grilling out. We've had the foods committee coming. They've committed. We're working kind of on the beginning stages of that open house. So that's one way to get the word out. Another way is social media. Kids are on, Facebook, Instagram. So we try to post what we're doing on our social media channels as well. Another intentional thing we do as well to recruit new audiences to 4-H are 4-H Spark Clubs. And Spark Clubs are meant to be a short-term 6-hour experience around a very specific topic where you kind of catch the youth's attention and then tell them, well, if you like that experience, here's all the other opportunities you have in 4-H. So last year, for example, we did a space Spark Club. And we had 30 kids attend, and 16 of them were new to 4-H. And some of them have continued on in their 4-H career past that short-term experience. They were excited. They got to learn about space for 6 hours, and then they learned everything else we have to offer. That same year, we also did a local government Spark Club where they actually got to meet all 3 of the judges here in Jackson County, which I think shows, the investment our local leaders have in our 4-H program. And we did a local food Spark Club as well. So we actually, through a program I was in last year, I met a food science specialist at Purdue, and she actually Zoomed in with the kids that day and did a lesson on microbiology. She sent Petri dishes to my office, and she was on Zoom, and the kids were able to actually connect with this professor at Purdue University. So those Spark Clubs are one way we try to recruit new youth. This summer we did a nature camp. So we were at Muscatatuck Wildlife Refuge, and that was something all 3 educators in my office collaborated on. And it was a 4-H Spark Club, and we're hoping that some of those kids then continue on in their 4-H experience. Once they kind of get a small taste of what we have to offer, they're really kind of intrigued by everything else once they learn more about the program. So we try to do a lot of creative things
that's
to
good.
reach out to our kids.
I think it's neat. Where would a kid go to learn how to drive a tractor, right?
Right?
And that's not something that everybody has. And I had a young man in the county, and he had told me that he never had driven a tractor. And I was like, come by the farm.
Yeah.
And but that's neat to have a place where they could go just to learn how to safely operate a tractor.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And the 2 leaders I have in that club, one's been volunteering with us for over 40 years, and the other one is a fairly new volunteer, and he actually has a YouTube channel where he talks about his tractors and how he restores them. So it's really kind of neat to see generations coming together to educate the youth.
So how can others help? We've talked about
Yeah.
Premier's contributions. So how can others help? Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Definitely. So, like I said earlier, and I've said 100 times before, we truly appreciate Premier's support of the 4-H program. Of course, that's one way to invest in the program is with those, monetary contributions. We do have a lot of donors that support our program that really make it possible. Another way is volunteering. We are always looking for volunteers. So one of my biggest roles as the 4-H educator is volunteer manager. So I manage about 160 volunteers who then my biggest job is to train them up to then go out and work with the youth in our community. We typically reach between 700 and 800 youth a year in Jackson County. And so one person can't do that. And so we rely a lot on our volunteers to carry out the mission and vision of Indiana 4-H. And that's to give youth real-life educational opportunities that will impact their community and their world. So always looking for volunteers. We do have a volunteer application process, and we do some registry checks and have our volunteers go through some trainings because we are, working with our most precious resource, our youth, and we want to make sure the adults that we have are responsible and caring and have the youth's best interest in mind. So definitely volunteering. Give me a call if you have an interest. We can find a 4-H opportunity for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Ron,
I don't
you
have
have-
anything else. No, I think you covered it. Anything else from you two?
I don't. Thank
No?
you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having
Absolutely.
us. It's just been a joy and honor to work with Premier. I was actually telling Victoria when we walked in, when Premier first opened this building, they asked that 4-H did a display case and an FFA. So I just really truly appreciate Premier's investment in the local agriculture community, truly making an impact, and it shows in the community. So we appreciate that.
We appreciate your enthusiasm and all your
Welcome.
efforts with our local youth. So
You're
It's
welcome.
always a good thing to see. So that's all I've got,
Thanks.
Sal.
Do you want to tell us any stories about your husband? I mean,
Oh goodness, now's
he's
my
one of-
time,
He's
right?
one of our coworkers
right?
in your ag.
Goodness, he's a pretty good guy. So
Well, we won't
hopefully
tell
he'll give
him
us a
that.
tour.
We'll cut that out.
Thank you guys.
All right, that's another episode of the High Ground powered by Premier Companies. Thank you guys.